Hi, everybody. I'm Ross the Boss. And my first guest today, you might know him from SNL. That's Saturday Night Live and show business. Also, one of my favorite shows, Weeds. And right now you can watch him on YouTube on Hiking with Kevin. Let's welcome the very funny Kevin Nealon. Kevin, welcome to The Hub.
Saturday Night Live, Weeds, Hiking with Kevin on YouTube.
Hiking, yeah, exactly. And also every Adam Sandler movie. Also every Adam Sandler movie possibly was in too.
A lot of them, yeah. A lot of Sandler.
A lot of them. And I actually was in Grandma's Boy too, so you and I have something in common.
You were.
And you were in Man with a Plan. Man with a Plan the last 4 years, I believe.
Man with a Plan, yeah. Last 4 years.
See, I'm up to date on my Kevin Nealon.
And with the Plan, CBS. So Kevin, welcome to the show. First question I want to ask you, you were in SNL for 9 years. You worked with a bunch of different athletes that hosted the show. Who was your favorite athlete and why? And, is there a funny story you have about a certain athlete that hosted the show that we could talk about?
Well, I certainly worked with a lot of athletes on that show. And Lorne Michaels, the producer, liked having athletes on there because they were so used to hitting their mark from their coach on the field. If you told them to be over by that, that chair on the set, they would be there when they had to be there. You know what I mean?
They turn on a dime.
Yeah, they're
used to out pattern.
They're used to finding their marks. So we had Wayne Gretzky on there, Joe Montana, Michael Jordan. I mean, we had so many athletes on there, but I think I probably the most fun I had was with Michael Jordan. I remember there was a sketch that someone had written. It was like one of those carnival basketball things where you got to get the ball through the hoop, but the hoop is really small and they're little balls, and they barely. And during rehearsal, he couldn't get it through. And he's like 5 feet away from it. And he kept trying, he couldn't get it. So I walked over there to him. I don't think I was in the sketch, but I walked over to him. I said, Michael, you're trying too hard. And as I was talking to him, the basket's over there. I take the ball. I said, you just got to, believe in yourself. And it went right through the hoop. And he looked at it and goes, fuck you. And then I just walked away like I do that all the time.
You have to go out on top then. That's amazing.
And the one thing I didn't really know about you is you were an athlete growing up. You played baseball, you played football in college. Tell us a little about that.
Well, I played soccer in college, and then I played rugby outside of college.
Okay.
And I also played, growing up, a lot of like neighborhood basketball and intramural basketball. I was 5'8" when I graduated high school. I'm 6'4" now, so I grew a lot after high school. But I also played a lot of sandlot football. Not on an organized team, but a lot of my friends, we loved to play. So we had the helmets we bought and the pads, and we would play like a gang from cross town on the football field on a Sunday when nobody was using it with no refs. So they were really brutal, tough games. So
and was this in high school?
This was during high school. Okay. We would do that. And so then in college, I played soccer and then I played rugby for the Connecticut Yankees. And then I always wanted to play football on an organized team, and I never did, not in high school, because I was kind of small, but, plus I went to a high school, I transferred high schools, and we were moving around. But anyway, my friend Bill Brackett says to me, hey man, I found out at Fairfield University in Connecticut, which is where we lived, if we took a night course, say in criminology, what we did, that would qualify us to play with the club football team at the school. So we said, let's do it. So I just graduated from my other college at a BS in marketing. I was 21, I guess, and he was 20. And we sign up for criminology and we show up for football practice and we get on the team. The starting quarterback got hurt, so I became the quarterback. And I played the whole season, and I was the kicker and the punter.
That's unbelievable.
It was my fantasy, and we started winning games. They never won before. And my friend Bill was voted All-American, and I got nominated MVP for the year. And then the next year we go back. We would still be doing it now if they didn't change the credit requirements. But the next year we go back, and I guess some of the players were a little peeved that they weren't getting to play. And we were kind of ringers, I guess. And they changed the requirements. You had to have 12 credits to play.
12.
But my goal,
you were too dangerous of a quarterback. They had to chase you out of town.
My play was the bootleg. That was my favorite play. But
I'm impressed that you did anything with your feet. I mean, I play basketball and I play football and I play baseball, but like soccer, I can't figure it out.
Well, I lived in Germany when I was a kid, when I was 6 until I was 10. And
That explains it.
played a lot of soccer there, but I was tall and I grew in college. So I wasn't really like a good ball handler. I wasn't that quick. But when I came out to Los Angeles to get into stand-up comedy, my goal, my plan was to try out for the USFL football team, the LA Express. They were here. And I was going to try out as a kicker. Because I knew I wasn't good enough to be a quarterback on that type of team, but I could be a kicker because I had a real good hang time. 30 minutes I could hang the ball up there.
That's a record. That's a record.
Hang time punt. Yeah. You could just run out the clock of an entire half with Kevin Nealon punting.
The network would get extra commercials in. It would be perfect. And I thought that would be a good hook for me too, because I was also wanting to be a stand-up. They could say, "Oh, you like this next guy? He's very funny, and also he's the kicker for the LA Express. Give him a nice hand, Kevin Nealon."
Yeah.
So luckily, my stand-up started happening before the walk-ons did. So I never tried out. But I used to go to Fairfax High every day, and I had like 6 USFL footballs that I would practice kicking with.
I remember the USFL. I had tickets for the LA Express, and my favorite player was this guy named Meat Cleaver Weaver. That was his name, Meat Cleaver Weaver. And he was a defensive lineman. He played for the LA Express, and I actually knew the guy, and people called him Meat Cleaver. That was his nickname. And
Wow.
And I used to.
Was this when Herschel Walker was there?
It was Steve Young, I think, was the quarterback for the LA Express, if my
Really?
memory's correct.
Oh.
But no, Herschel Walker played for the New Jersey
He's no
Generals.
Kevin Nealon.
No, Herschel Walker was on Trump's team. Actually, Trump owned a team in that league, and Herschel
I
Walker
forgot
played for his team, the New Jersey Generals. Little history lesson.
Oh, you've
for
got a
you.
good memory, Mark.
I'm just a sports freak. Kevin, so I know you're going crazy with no clubs. Have you been performing at all on stage anywhere?
A little bit. I do some of these drive-in things, that they have outside. And I did a live stream virtual, thing from my room a couple weeks ago. That was interesting. It's hard doing stand-up when you don't hear the people laughing. I mean, I'm kind of used to that, but still.
I was going to say there are comics that are used to that sort of thing, but not you.
But the last one I did was at the Magic Castle parking lot. Tammy Jo Deering put that on. And there's a lot of people there parked in the parking lot. It's a big parking lot. And instead of laughing, they would flash their lights. And they also had clackers that they gave them. And they hold out the window and they would clack it if they liked the joke.
They wouldn't turn on their
stand up to robots or something.
Yeah. So it's not as gratifying, but at least you're getting some stage time, and you really do need that audience to feed off of, and it helps with your timing too. When you're not hearing anything, it's kind of like you have to really believe in your material and give it that time and that pause.
So are you a guy that sits home? Do you watch sports on TV? Do you watch the NBA is going on right now? Do you watch the NBA? Do you watch NFL? What's your sports intake? What's the average Kevin Nealon sports
I don't watch
intake?
a lot of sports. I'll sit down if there's a good game on, like I'll watch, if there's a good football game on a weekend, I'll watch it or something. I like to watch golf, but as far as and I love basketball, but I'm not an ardent fan. I don't even have a team that I like. I used to love the Lakers. I would get courtside seats. Somebody would get them and I'd go with them and we'd sit courtside. And then I remember going a few years later and I didn't recognize one person on the team. It was like I was watching a pickup game somewhere.
No, I get it. I mean,
the only player
at a certain point, you lose track of all the players. I mean, I had kids, and like 10 years later, I don't know who anybody is.
The only one I recognized was Jack Nicholson. That was it.
Yeah, and he is not that good of a basketball player.
They never put him in. They never put him in.
No, he's always on the sideline, and it's where he should be.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you this, though. When you're watching sports, this is a very serious question, but because you have no depth perception, because you were Mr. No Depth Perception, how do you watch a game that way?
I sit very close to the TV.
Well, that's what you think.
Oh, am I far away from it? I could be far away.
I have to say, Kevin, that was one of my favorite all-time skits. My friends and I talk about it all the time.
Was it really?
Oh my God, we love
Thank you.
that skit. I mean, I was just watching a little last night where you were bringing the platter up to the table and you drop it like 10 feet short of it.
Yeah.
Or you launched the roll.
Who hosted that show? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
You know, it's funny. I was just going through, it's funny you should say that because I was going through all of my SNL DVDs and looking online in my external drives for a sketch I did with Eddie Van Halen and Valerie Bertinelli. When Valerie hosted, Eddie was there. And it was a sketch I wrote where it was a Thanksgiving dinner at their house. And I was a roadie with a bunch of other guys, Phil Hartman and stuff. And we were scurrying around, moving their plates like we were roadies on stage with them, you know, setting up the mic. But instead of setting up gravy bowl and this and that and running, and we had walkie-talkies and stuff.
Let me tune your fork.
Yeah.
Do you still watch SNL? Like, will you sit down and watch the show, or just?
I don't watch it on a regular basis.
I don't either.
I have it taped. I must have about 80 episodes taped, and I don't watch it. And I'll tell you why in a second. But unless I hear that something was really funny on there, then I'll watch it. You know, I'll fast forward to it. But I think it's exhausting for me to watch that because I know what they're going through. I know they've been working all week and they've been, you know, rewriting, and now they're, you know, they're frustrated and they're in a hurry. They're changing under the bleachers, and I just can't enjoy it. You know?
Yeah, it's like you're watching work.
Yeah, kind of.
I mean, I watched the show in treatment, you know, and I'm a therapist by day. And I watched that show and I was like, it's interesting, but I can only take so much. It's a busman's holiday.
Yeah, I don't watch a lot of TV. I mean, during COVID now, I've really started to catch up to some shows that I wanted to watch for a long time. And I still haven't, I've never watched West Wing. I've never watched The Wire. I've only watched the first 3 or 4 years of Breaking Bad. Wow. And The Sopranos. I'm really spotty on The Sopranos. You know, I've only watched.
Wait, have you seen Friday Night Lights?
No.
I listen, even if you're not that into football, although, you know, all pro quarterback that you were, you should like this. Friday Night Lights and West Wing are 2 of my favorite shows of all time.
Well, I'll check it out. I mean, I think I have time.
Now I can say that Kevin Nealon watched Friday Night Lights because of me. This is very exciting.
Well, you guys are into sports. You'll like this story. I did Ellen once, and I had to marry some couples at the Little White Wedding Chapel. I do some field pieces for the Ellen Show. And so they ordained me as a minister online for $50. You know, it's the open ministry. So I can marry people now. I could baptize kids, you know, I could do all that. So a friend of mine said, would you mind renewing our vows, my wife and mine, at your house? I said, no, it'll be fine. He said, and I'm also inviting another couple, Aaron Rodgers and his girlfriend. So Aaron Rodgers came to our house here, you know, in the Palisades. And my son got to throw the football around with him in the backyard for a while. I thought that was pretty cool.
That's really cool. Was he dating Danica Patrick back then? Was he with Danica?
No, this was Olivia Munn.
Olivia was before Danica. Got it.
Oh, well.
But I did, you know, my parents lived in Sanibel Island for a long time, 27 years, actually Captiva Island. And I remember seeing Danica Patrick running by once with her hat on. She was jogging. That's my great Danica Patrick story that I tell all the time. It kills.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, it's riveting. Listen, I actually would listen to you say anything. Like I was hanging on every word.
This is how far back I go. I've been around for a while. Now, you know, talking about Fairfield University, where I played football, but when I was a teenager, I would go to Fairfield University because that's where the Giants used to practice, the New York Giants. And I remember watching them, and I would get autographs. And there's this gravel driveway that I walked on as a quarterback playing in that college. And I would think about this all the time when I was walking to the field. This is where I stood, and I asked Y.A. Tittle for his autograph. I was going to guess,
was it Y.A. Tittle?
Wow. That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's great.
I don't have the autograph anymore, but I actually
that's my question.
I have Y.A. Tittle right here in the back room.
Oh, bring him out.
Y.A.
Bring him out. Why?
Yeah.
No, forget it. I don't want to talk to him. Nah, it's too much.
You've called him Ya now. You're very familiar with it.
No, I'm not Ya. Kevin, tell us about your show. I love watching it. I watch it all the time on YouTube. Hiking with Kevin.
It's called Hiking with Kevin. And each week I hike with a different celebrity. I've done 3 seasons. I've done about 87 hikes. And it's a lot of fun. We just chat. And I have a drone that I fly. I get some really nice aerial shots.
You have a drone now. Wow.
Oh, yeah. And I have a selfie stick that people ask me, how do you get these shots? You got a cameraman walking behind you? No, I got a selfie stick. And it's really been becoming popular and people are starting to watch it. So people could find it on #HikingWithKevin.
No, I love it. I've been watching it ever since season 1. Before it was like a cool show to watch. Just because I follow you on Instagram.
No, it was always a cool show to watch, Ross. Come on.
No, until I start watching it.
Kevin, I see. Okay.
Kevin, thanks for coming on today. Always a pleasure. Hope to have you again on the show.
Thanks for having me.
If you have any fantasy football needs or any questions, you can always call us or ask us. We're here for you.
Yeah, listen, I know you don't play fantasy sports, or at least that's what I hear, but if you get addicted, which happens, you come
I don't have fantasy sports needs, but I have other fantasy needs. Maybe,
okay, well, we can help with some of those, but...
All right, I appreciate that.
I'm Ross the Boss, and that was Kevin Nealon. Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks, Ross the Boss. Thanks, you guys.
If she could see who was under the blanket with me, I said, you don't want to find it is Hideki Matsui.